Hey, welcome to another installment in our Farm Your Yard series. I'm Carrie. Thanks for joining us today. Today I thought we would talk a little bit about direct seeding in your garden. Now, this is a question we get a whole lot, like, when do I plant my seeds? What should be planted indoors versus what should be planted outdoors? What is the spacing on seeds? How deep do I plant the seeds? We get these questions asked all of the time. So today I thought we could go out to the garden and talk a little bit more in depth about direct seeding, and then we have another video about transplanting. So let's go. All right, so now we're out here in the garden and we are going to talk about seeding today. So before we get started, I want to say that there's a couple different ways that you plant fruits and vegetables in your garden. The first way is to put the seeds directly in the soil where they will live their entire lives and be harvested from. And that's called direct seeding, which is what we're going to talk about today. There's another way where you start seeds inside, like on a heat mat under some grow lights in your house, and then grow the plant, to a little tiny plant, and then transplant it outdoors into your garden. And that's called transplanting, and we go over that in a different video. Some plants, like parsnips and the flower nasturtiums, like to be direct seeded into your garden bed because they don't like their roots messed with. In transplanting, you inadvertently mess with the roots. Others, like radishes and arugula, grow really, really fast and are planted really close together. Their lifespan is so short that you don't need to start them inside to transplant them out. In a few weeks after planting them, you can be harvesting them and eating them. So on the other hand, there are some fruits and vegetables that need to be transplanted out in the garden after being grown in your house or in a greenhouse for a little bit. These plants are like your tomatoes and peppers and broccoli, amongst others. The reason why we have to grow those indoors for a little bit to transplant outside later is because they require a longer growing season than we have here in central Missouri. And then there are some fruits and vegetables that really can go either way. They can be direct seeded in the garden, or you could start them in their house. And those would be things like cucumbers, like okra, like summer squash. So now that we've kind of gone over the different ways that you plant fruits and vegetables into your garden, you have a broader understanding of that. Let's focus on how to direct seed plants into your garden. All plants like to be planted in the garden in specific gardening seasons, at specific depths, with specific amounts of moisture. And so there's a lot of complexity there. But there are 6 general rules that you can follow when direct seeding to be successful. So the first rule of thumb is, if you have a packet of seed, let me pull one out of my pocket, like these peas. If you turn it around and look at the back, there's a plethora of information on the back. This says the planting depth. It has the days to germination, meaning how long it's going to take from when you plant the seed in the ground to when it'll pop out of the ground. The plant spacing within the row, how many inches to space the rows apart, and also how tall the plant gets. So there's a lot of really good information that if you follow the back of the seed packet, you'll be successful. Although not all of the information you need is on the seed packet. Another good bit of information is the date that the seed was packaged for. So as you can see, this is a little bit old. This is 2019 seed. A lot of seed can be stored for a few years, but the fresher seed is, the better and faster it germinates. So if you're a new gardener and just getting started, I would recommend getting the freshest seed available, which is sold in all hardware stores and gardening centers. The second rule of thumb is to plant the seed twice as deep as the seed is wide. So that means if you have a seed that's a 1/2 inch in diameter, you plant it 1 inch deep. And that gives the seed enough soil to keep it nice and moist and cool from the sun, but not too deep to make it hard to push through the soil. Pea seeds, which are larger, have more stored energy and can be planted deeper than, say, something that's small like lettuce seed that has less stored energy and therefore is planted more shallowly. Rule 3, plant more seeds than you actually want to grow plants. So germination is never 100%, even with super fresh seed sown in the most like ideal circumstances and environments. It's just never 100% accurate. So here at CCUA, we usually overseed by about 20%. So that means we plant just a little more seed in each of the rows we plant than we intend to ultimately grow, taking into account that germination isn't 100%. So the fourth rule is to backfill the trench with more compost topsoil, garden soil, so that they're covered, in this case, since it's peas, with an inch of soil. So we're going for something called good seed to soil contact. So that means that while air pockets in the soil are a good thing, young roots don't like to grow through large air holes in the soil. And we just made a pretty large air hole in the soil with our trench. So you kind of pat down gently and firmly to make sure that all sides of the seed are touching the garden soil. You don't want to really push down too hard and compact the soil. Just, gently yet firmly is the best way to describe what you need to do. Rule 5 is water your seeds after you plant them, and water thoroughly and deeply. Always water right away. That's really important as well. And then a couple days after you plant, keep checking to make sure that the soil is moist. All right, and then step 6 is label what you planted. This helps you determine what are the young plants that you want to grow in your garden, like these peas, versus the weeds that are also going to be germinating and sprouting out of the ground around the same time. All right, so we're going to dig our trench for our pea seeds. So when you're digging the trench, you want to get we have a lot of straw on this bed. So I'm going to try to brush away some of the straw, and if there's any sticks or leaves or anything, kind of brush that off to the side. You want a nice, what we call clean seed bed. Clean meaning it's just soil or compost that's all kind of uniform in structure. That looks pretty good to me. So now I'm just going to use my hand. You can use a hand trowel if you'd like, or a little hoe or something, but I'm just going to use my hand, and I'm just going to make a trench that's about an inch deep. Just a little trench, just for a demonstration. And then I'm going to take my pea seeds, and my hands are kind of wet. I'm trying not to get the pea seed wet. You want to keep the seed nice and dry until you use it. All right, so now I've got the peas in my hands. So now I'm gonna refer back to the back of the pea seed packet to see how many seeds I need to plant per foot. So this says 8 seeds per foot. So I'm gonna just do my best to achieve that. Maybe since I'm trying to overseed, like we talked about, I'm gonna do maybe 10 seeds per foot. This looks like it's about 1.5 feet. So I'll try to do 15 seeds in this little trench that I just made. Beautiful. And now I have some extra pea seeds that I'm just going to put gingerly back in my seed packet. Okay. So I'm just going to fill that trench back in. And then I'm going to gently yet firmly kind of press down the soil over that trench, just like this. So I like to move the hose kind of back and forth, like a gentle, sweeping motion. And you water enough so that it takes a few seconds for the water to seep into the soil. That's when you know you've done enough. So I'm going to do it for a little bit longer. All right, that's pretty good. So you can use popsicle sticks and permanent marker. These are reused, so you can use them at least twice. And I'm just going to write peas. and put it right next to where I just planted them. That way, you know where everything is in your garden. And that's that. As always, we hope that this has been helpful information in your own gardening journey. Follow us on social media and on our website and on our YouTube channel for more gardening content. We have other garden content that's similar to this one, like transplanting, how to thin, and how to start seeds in your house. Thanks. I'll see you next time. Bye.